Well, I mean, Jimmy's pretty, he's always been really active in the beer scene, always been a champion of it. So I think it's just people who really appreciate the diversity within the beer world. I mean, if you compare it to something like the wine side of things, there's a pretty specific amount of styles within the red and white wines or whatever, but the beer world there's hundreds of different styles and hybrid styles that people are doing. Just people being really inventive with stuff and just being aware of what's going on in the scene. And I've had like about 8 years now cumulative work in the beer industry, and it's just amazing to see what people are coming up with. And taking risks, I think, because a lot of times people like to play safe with even places that are established beer bars. I find will sort of go with what they know will work. So it's really kind of taking a risk, going out on a limb for especially newer beers that are coming out, and breweries that maybe make special batches that are maybe a little bit more expensive because they're harder to produce and the ingredients are more expensive, but being willing to being confident in the fact that their clientele knows enough about beer that they can still sell it and still not only make a profit for themselves but also for the breweries that they're involved with and get the customer happy. I mean, it's just amazing what's out there these days, the diversity in styles. When Jimmy's looking at it, I think it's really just about people really taking risks, taking a risk with getting a keg in that might sit there for a few weeks and not move, but they're confident, they'll learn about the beer, they'll figure it out, and they'll find a way to present it to the customer in a way that they would like it. So I guess it would be to really start from the ground up, and I mean, I think there's a lot of, it's easier to figure out what's going to be a flash in the pan kind of trend, or that maybe somebody might a style that's popular because it's light and it's the summertime, and it's like, people sort of sometimes have a more superficial way of looking at. It's all right. It's sort of taking a less superficial approach to it and really finding out. There's a lot of amazing books out there about the brewing process, what it takes from the start to finish, where flavors come from, why certain flavors are there. Why? I mean, even down to sort of the chemical process, which is, I'm not a mathematician or a chemistry major or anything, but there's some pretty simple elements that you can learn, even if you take a weekend and read some of the better books and just have one at your disposal. Just learning about the process. And the best thing they could do is homebrew. If you really want to know about, you really want to be able to talk about beer in a way that is going to be seem authentic to the people that you're trying to sell the beer to. Homebrewing is the best way to go. I mean, even if it's just one batch a year or something, even if you just try it. There's companies that sell small kits. You can do a gallon batch of beer if you want in your kitchen, in a few hours. But just learning that process, learning what a malt, why different malts look different ways, and why they create different styles of beer, and I think that would be the best piece of advice I could give, is just to homebrew, because there's no way you can homebrew and not know how to explain the process of beer, and by choosing what kind of beer you're going to homebrew, you're going to learn about why different beers look the way they do, why they taste the way they do, why they smell the way they do. Don't follow trends. I would say don't rest your laurels on what the people around you are selling, or what sort of seems to be trendy, or for whatever reason these things come and go. So it's really just important to know what the basis of the whole process is. I've been really into sour beers lately. Sour beers are a little bit controversial in the sense that it's easy to get a beer that's sour by accident. So it's I feel like some people maybe wanted to make a certain type of beer, maybe a strict sort of Belgian style beer, or using some sort of wilder, rarer yeast that they might not use consistently, but then it's easy for beers to get sour lactic, as they call it, by accident, and So I really love sour beers, and it's interesting to see people really engineering them. I won't name any names, but generally sour beers have been really interesting this summer. I've seen a lot of them. They seem to be coming more, and it's a very specific flavor that lactic acid creates. So it's nice to see that there are sour beers that don't all just taste like that particular flavor overwhelmingly. And people are doing it on purpose, that they're doing it with intention, and so yeah, I've seen a lot of really good sour beers this year. What's interesting to me also is just the community at large working together. Different brewers, there's enough room for everybody. I mean, it's a growing industry and it is competitive, but everybody at the end of the day is all in it for the same reason, and there's plenty of room in tap lines in New York for everything out there. So, you know, guys like me are just really people who are intimately involved with the brewery, with the brewing process too as well, and just trying to get the right information and also really push the events. The sales reps for the distributors are usually busy enough that they don't have time for that. So it's really planning, getting in more intimate relationship with the people who are selling the beer and more popular beer bars in the city.